Well, thank you for indulging that.
Thank you, ShadowBats, wherever you are. BJ and the ShadowBats, everybody. All right, everyone, welcome to Bigfoot Collectors Club, the show where we talk to amazing guests about their personal paranormal history and share stories of high strangeness. I'm your host, Michael McMillan. With me always is your other host.
What's up, guys? Bryce Johnson here.
And our super producer,
Riley Bray.
This is our first in-person live podcast show since before the pandemic,
Yeah, it's
which
been a
is
while.
wild.
Man.
We've been doing live streams with our friends over at Popsy Lounge. We're so excited to be here at RTX Festival for our first live show back. Thank you, everybody who is here this morning on a lovely Sunday morning at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Taking you to Bigfoot Church in Texas
That's
today.
right. Bigfoot Church.
How many are there? Any Club Scouts here in attendance? All right, we got
All
one.
right.
Oh, we got
There you
two.
go.
Couple Club Scouts.
I see the
Great.
shirt.
Oh yes, great.
Yes.
Lovely. You got the
Excellent shirt.
Ryan Smallman shirt. All right. Well, you guys, I want you to get your brains ready because we might need both of you a little bit later. All right. So I hope you're awake. All right. So as you two know, and as the rest of you are going to find out, this summer is Big Hairy Summer. All summer long, we are talking about stories of high strangeness that involve big hairy monsters. So Bigfoot, goat creatures. What else? What do we got? There's Bigfoot and Sasquatch.
You're just saying names.
Yeah,
for
just Bigfoot, Sasquatch. But
Batsquatch.
Batsquatch is a big
Sheep
hairy
squatch.
monster. Sheep squatch is a big hairy monster. And we're not stopping that just because we came to Texas to do a show for you guys today. So I want to get right into it, Bryce, Riley, because we have so much show. We have such little time. We have an amazing guest that most of you probably know. If you're a fan of Rooster Teeth and cryptids and mysteries, then you definitely know this gentleman. From Achievement Hunter, Z Direction, and the podcast Red Web, please welcome Trevor Collins to the Clubhouse. Hi, Trevor. Let's give him a big round of applause as he makes his
right.
awkward entrance all the way across
It's
the
a
ballroom.
very long walk.
Here he goes. Oh, he's slowing
he's
down,
making his
everybody.
way. Hold on,
There he
he needs
is.
a break.
Yep. Oh, no, he's falling
back.
down. Oh,
Okay,
he's
good.
recovered.
He's coming in.
Didn't spill a drop of coffee. Trevor.
Hello, I did spill a little bit of coffee.
Oh, no. Trevor, thank you so much for being here. How
Thanks
is
for having me.
RTX Fest going for you?
So far, so good. It's been awesome to meet everybody, and you know, it's one of my favorite things we get to do every year is be able to see all the people that are otherwise just numbers or comments or emails or whatever, and so we get to actually sit down and like see you all and connect with you, and it's my favorite thing.
Well,
100%.
we're so happy you're here. We're happy you guys are here. So let's get right into it. So on the show, we love to ask all of our guests, what is your personal paranormal history, Trevor? How did you get into mysteries? How did you first get into this realm? And have you ever had an experience that you can't explain?
Sure, absolutely. So, when I was a kid, I stumbled into TAPS. I don't remember the name of the show at this point, but it's the Atlantic Paranormal Society.
Okay.
It was
Oh,
it was
wow.
like.
I thought you
Ghost
meant tap
Advent-
dance class.
Well,
I was like,
I was
Go
tap dancing
on.
with a ghost. No, the TAPS. There's Ghost Adventures, which eventually I got around to, but I think it was I don't remember. Doesn't matter. So I stumbled into all these like ghost hunting shows as a kid, and I just loved it. There's something about the unknown that's always just stood out to me. And then as time went on, I started looking more into like mysteries and reading stories and whatnot. And then flash forward to being here at Rooster Teeth, and with Achievement Hunter, we had a show called Haunter, which was us actually going out and also kind of investigating haunted hotspots around the nation and eventually around the world, which was really cool. And so I've had a few encounters through that.
oh.
And also with Red Web, we've begun doing like Halloween specials where we'll go to Yorktown Memorial Hospital here, not in Austin, but nearby. It's like a maybe 2-hour drive or so here in Texas. And that place was spooky, also the birthplace of baby hands. That place is haunted by a ghost that is very small. Very small handprints all over that place.
That place needs to be burned to the ground, and the earth needs to be salted so nothing can grow back there.
But
That's
the-
terrifying.
If there's a sheep squatch, you can have a baby hand.
Sheep squatch. I love that. But the creepiest one I'd ever had was back with Haunter in Michelham Priory in England. So this is maybe, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours again, south of London. There's an old priory, several centuries old. And it's been slightly rebuilt, but a lot of it's original. And that's one of those places where you hear a lot of voices, you see a lot of things. I was like hearing splashes in the river as I was out on this. They have a moat around this thing. That's kind of how old it is. Oh,
cool.
I'm hearing splashes in the moat while the door to the gateway just keeps opening behind me.
I just wanted to interrupt for a moment.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys think as kids that like moats would come up more often as an adult? Like, didn't you think you were going to encounter them way more than we have? Like, that's probably the only moat you've ever seen in your life.
Absolutely. It was like castles and moats. I felt like I was going to run into those nonstop. I need to figure out how to get the drawbridge down.
Yeah.
And everything. Never came into play.
I got, there's going to be some challenges in life, and one of those is going to be how do I get this drawbridge down by firing an arrow through like a narrow socket.
Yes.
Storming the castle.
But man, I don't know. I've seen a lot of little like sounds and things, but the most exciting one, the most vivid one, was, of course, as we are wont to do in Achievement Hunter, we pranked people. That was part of the ghost hunting as well, was to ratchet up our own fear. So to open ourselves up to any sort of experiences. And my hazing ritual as part of going to the Michelin Priory my first time was to tie me to the bed and then vacate the premises. And I was there tied to a bed in an old priory for about an hour. And the sounds that you start to hear and the things you start to see, I was seeing like dark shadow figures like moving into the doorway. And like standing, like it felt ominous. Like these are like 10-foot doors, like these heavy doors. They got to withhold an axe blow. And but to see like this giant shadow shift in and just kind of like be there. It was darker than the darkness because all the lights were off. And then it would like kind of fade out if I like looked at it too long or whatever. It was
So is shadow people, shadow things, is that the closest you came to like going, okay, I saw something? Or
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like disembodied voices that kind of run away from you as you kind of approach them. But yeah, I've heard things, heard voices. We try to debunk everything because we try to come in as like right down the middle. We're not skeptical. We're not full believers. We're like right in the middle. Anything we can debunk, we're going to try. Anything we can't, we just leave it up to the viewer to kind of see what they saw.
Any memory of something where you're like, I feel like we came in with this legend, but I feel like we've successfully debunked this. Is there like one that sticks in your craw that you're like, I wish people didn't believe in this thing?
I don't know. There's times where we talk about theories in episodes, whether it be like aliens are a favorite go-to theory for just about anything. They're like the MacGyver of solutions. Just throw aliens in and it'll figure itself out.
We've done it.
There are definitely times where I'm like, I don't know, that it's kind of compelling. But then there's other times you're like, oh, come on, get out of here. Like, I don't know about that. We haven't really debunked any like mysteries or legends or urban legends like that, but whenever it comes to like sounds or whatever, especially like in Yorktown Memorial Hospital or Pennhurst Asylum up in Pennsylvania, like we'll try to chase down the sounds or figure out, okay, was it like a car driving by because of this street over here and reflections in the window? It's things like that, more like trying to practically break it down. But my favorite part is when we kind of post the video, leave it up to the task force to kind of watch over it and leave comments if they see something. Because sometimes things show up in the audio or in the video, and we honestly just don't have the time to pour through the hours of footage and audio to see what might be in there. Any EVPs, any like shadow movements or any orbs or anything. So task force is awesome because they'll do that. Then we'll go over that. And sometimes like they see some stuff that freaks us out in retrospect.
Oh, yeah. Whenever I'm going through like a great video, I'm always looking at the comments because there's always people that are watching these videos. They always catch something that you usually miss, and it's good to take a sort of gauge as to where people feel on some type of phenomena.
Yeah. Well, let me turn the question back on you guys.
Yeah.
Has there been any experiences that you've had, and I'm sure your audience is well aware of some of these, but like that you've either fully debunked or left you going, wait a minute, I might know something now.
I don't know about debunking. I mean, we definitely feel, for me personally on the show, I'm always excited mostly about the lore and the stories.
Sure.
That, like, and not, as you'll see coming up too, we do like to ask opinions about whether something might be real or might not be real. There are definitely stories that we've researched, and I'm trying to think of a specific one without calling out specific names of people, but like, I think, for example, and this is just opinion, obviously with all the UFO stuff that's coming out right now, there's something to it. I've always believed that we're being visited, whether it's from someplace out there or someplace from a neighboring dimension or maybe even something here terrestrially that we don't understand.
No doubt.
But I've never fully bought into the belief that the government knows everything and they're keeping all the answers from us. I think they clearly know more stuff than we do or have collected some of this stuff, but I don't necessarily believe they even know what they have. So I tend to, and then you get into the levels of like how much disinformation is being spread around and all that stuff. So I tend to just in general go, don't believe anything that anyone's telling you. And this is kind of a general rule for the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, because nobody really knows what's going on.
Sure.
Keep an open mind, but also kind of have your gut instinct up. And when something tells you, I don't know, this doesn't smell right.
Right.
It's probably not right. Do you have any specific ones, Bryce?
No, I can't think of any, but that's always a great barometer for the paranormal or the strange. When somebody claims, like even going back to those old sort of occult authors like Blavatsky and Crowley, when somebody claims to have the direct line of communication and they know exactly what's going on, usually that's a great bullshit detector meter to go, okay, well, you're probably getting something right, but it's not the whole story. You know, everyone is just a filter.
And everybody's like user face is personal.
Yes,
so like
that's
stuff that
right.
worked for Crowley might not work for us. Some of it might, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think the other thing I will say to Bryce's chagrin, I don't think Uri Geller is a real psychic, and I don't think he knows how to bend
There's a great
spoons.
article in the New York Times that just came out about Uri Geller. I always like the Uri Geller bending spoons things because I believe in sort of the quiet. I believe in these latent psychic powers that are within all of us, and I believe he might have tapped into something. Plus, his origin story is so great. Like he stuck his finger into a socket and saw.
Okay.
He saw. Okay,
Wait, hold
I'll
on
move
a second. Who's
yeah.
fingering outlets and what is this ability that they have now?
Well, he has the ability to.
He's a magician.
To alter the physical universe with
He bends spoons.
with his mind. He
with
bends
his mind.
spoons.
He
You
bends
know,
spoons.
Are they gallium
He can-
spoons
he
by
can
chance?
stop clocks. He's also a great remote viewer. He can see what's inside sealed envelopes.
It
and
just
stuff.
takes
Is
a
it- so is
little
this
poking, and
this a
boy,
I'm gonna
he'll
move off
get
that.
going.
You know, I do want to actually go back to
Okay.
your earlier question. One paranormal thing that I've always felt as authentic as can be, and have always been, and I still continuously try to debunk it. But it's that Patterson Gimlin film that came out in 1967 of that,
The classic Bigfoot.
classic one that we've all seen, the Bigfoot that comes from a real filmed footage. And I continue to this day to look at that and go, that is just about as authentic as it can be. And so I really have a hard time debunking that. And so that stands for me in the world of cryptids as one of the most authentic pieces of filmed footage, because, when you look at it and you take in the context of how it was filmed, the people involved in it, and it just becomes, I don't know, for me, truer every year. But
It's really cool with modern technology just how well we can like that video has been so well stabilized
Yeah.
and restored, if you will, like
Yep.
just brought up. So like you can properly analyze it now. And like some people look at it and they start to see things like muscles moving under skin,
For
gliding
sure.
over bones and things like that. And I'm like, that is really cool. And I will trust at least or open my mind to somebody who's an expert on that. I want to gather all the opinions and form my own.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, I remember watching like one of those various TV series, probably on like Discovery or something like that, where there was a man who claimed to be the man in that suit.
Yeah. Right.
And the most compelling thing to me about that was right time, right place, the opposite of an alibi. He was there.
Yeah.
But really, to me, it was just his very peculiar walk. Like, his natural walk was so close. You know what I'm talking about when you see that tape, the way he moves in a very peculiar way that we all kind of associate now with a big like cryptid like Bigfoot. It looks right, but the man also has a very peculiar walk.
so you're talking about Bob Hieronymus, was
okay.
the guy who claimed to be in the suit. Now, Bob Hieronymus at the time of that film being filmed was soaking wet. The guy was maybe 140 pounds, and he stands at about 5'9". So I do a show called Expedition Bigfoot, and we actually went to that actual film site. And with LiDAR lasering, we were able to pinpoint the exact height of that creature, which had never been done before. People have been speculating for decades as to the actual size of that creature. And we were able to pinpoint within, millimeter accuracy that this creature stood at 6 foot 3 inches tall.
Which you were notably a little sad about on camera because you were hoping for
6'3"?
like.
Yeah, but now
That's
listen, I thought this thing would be like 7 foot 8 feet tall, but what we know that this creature in that
From the
film had-
video.
was
say it,
probably a female
because
the pendulous breasts.
Yep.
And so we know it was a
Pendulous
female.
breasts.
Yes.
And,
What a
you know,
descriptor.
Yeah, and actually, so that
It'll
works
stick
out
with
well
you.
because large primates like the silverback gorilla are usually, on average, about 25% larger than their female counterparts. So that actually works in perfectly with the size of a creature like that, because if it was a male, that would mean it would be standing at about 7.5, 8 feet tall. So yeah, that Bob Hieronymus, he gets a lot of play for, and I think it would be pretty easy to imitate that walk, having seen that video. I mean, God, we can all.
That's a
do
fair
it.
point,
At
for
this
sure.
point, it's
Yeah,
just
can we
like-
get
Got a
visual
handheld mic there if you
example?
need to
This
do
is
it.
a live show after all.
Wait a minute, is that Bob Hieronymus or
Wait.
is that Bigfoot?
Just a Bigfoot costume
Yeah.
falls out of his back
Yeah.
pocket. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute, what is this?
How
brown
old are you?
fuzz?
Jeez.
But so I always liked. He does get a lot of play, and that I've seen that video. It is pretty. He does do the damn good walk, which makes it hard for a lot of people to sort of jump on board.
I will say though, that is the biggest piece of evidence that stuck with me. Unless I just wash over and I've forgotten everything else, that's pretty much it as far as the evidence for him being the creature. But that is really cool. Not only that you went there, but you also use LiDAR to basically scan the area.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
It was great. And, if you ever want to go back and look at that video, there's something that I missed that I just discovered only a few years ago is when it's walking, if you take a look at the legs, you can actually see the toes go up as it plants its foot into the wet sand. Now, if that was just like, a slip-on rubber foot cover or whatever, there's no way you're going to get those toes to sort of bend up and to plant themselves into the sand. And you can see the musculature on the calf. Look, I'm getting excited.
I know. We don't. We
Well, I
only
just
have an hour, Bryce.
You're right. But let's move on. So there's so many details to glean from that video. When you get home, just go ahead and YouTube it.
You could Google it.
You could Google it.
You guys do the
Give it a
research.
quick Google.
I just want to say I love how into it you are, because like that's what I love about mysteries, and that's what I love about like our audience called the Task Force, how into it all of us get. And like, but we're also open to all the ideas, you know, and that's how you have to be.
Well, I think what's so fascinating about that video too is it perfectly encapsulates the paradox of the unknown. You have so much there that you can go, this is believable, and you have so much there that you can say, this is bullshit. And there's something about that trickster element to the thing where you're like, that's where we get caught up. You could be, but it also couldn't be, right?
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
really where I think we all dwell. All right, speaking of videos, we're going to move on to the next segment. Bryce, you've brought in something from your secret stash.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a part of the show. We tend to do these on the live shows because it's video, where Bryce has dipped into his personal collection.
He dipped on in.
It's just me combing through YouTube. It's
Late at night.
But you
kids
do.
I wish
asleep.
it was like a cool box where I opened up and brought out VHS tapes, but it's really
It is. It is.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right,
It
sorry.
is. So show us. Let's. What have you brought in from your VHS collection?
All right.
This
Great.
week.
Well, and I want to get your guys' opinion out there too. So when I'm looking for a video, I'm trying to look for something that I think might be an authentic phenomenon. So this is the first one here. Take a look. This is just simply titled "Girl Ghost." Tell me what you guys.
Compelling.
This is not the ghost, by the way, that you see. You'll see. Keep your eyes peeled. Here we go. This is called "Girl Ghost."
Are you sure? I don't think so. What's that?
Oh yeah.
A bear! I told you! I told you I seen something! Quickly! No! I'm back going to tell you now.
And now it's in the upstairs
What did
window.
I say? Oh my god, what did I say?
Oh, she's gone.
No, shush, no.
And now she's in the down. I mean, either this girl moves super fast, and these girls are like incredible filmmakers, or this might be something authentic. I don't know.
I love that you call it incredible filmmaking.
I mean, I looked at it again. Look how fast they get to the stairwell, and then it's just it's at the top
Yeah,
of
you
the
should.
stairs.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
think so.
I'll play it once again real quick. There's the camera, and then boom. I mean, I can't climb stairs that fast.
Like, did it ever occur to you there might be more than one girl ghost in this video? No. More than one stumper.
No.
Have you
Why
ever
would they
seen-
lie on the internet?
Have you ever
Michael?
seen twins?
Yeah.
Oh, right,
Have you
yeah.
ever seen triplets?
Yeah, all right. Well, I figured this one might not be. Yeah, I figured you guys might have. That makes sense.
This one's fun though. This does give me Enfield Poltergeist vibes, which
Yeah.
is one of my favorite stories of all time. So
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. What do you guys think about this video over here? Compelling? Are you
Yeah, maybe
convinced?
a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
get,
let's
we
get it
got
from
some
the audience.
sideways thumbs, some thumbs down.
middles.
One thumbs up from
Yeah,
our
okay,
friend Ryan
all right.
Middledorf from Wood Up in the back. Thanks for
Enthusiastic
keeping
from
us
the network.
legitimate.
Well, don't worry. I want to finish strong. So let's go to the next one here.
We're
Okay,
stalling for
so
time, vamping,
now-
vamping.
I mean, that one's almost like it's almost not blurry enough for me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just a little too clear.
I think
know.
the fact that the person filming saw something move in the stairwell like instantly, that never happens. Usually it's like
Yeah.
in the background, then they go, I saw this later when I was looking at my tapes,
All right.
going over my day.
Well-
But she was like, boom, what is that? And
Right.
then-
Yeah, it was
there was a
little
weird morph cut
anticipatory.
and then looking up the stairs.
Yeah, you're right. One thing I did like about it, it was filmed like 16 years ago. So today, like, I mean, it's harder to sort of. I mean, it's much easier to
This
make. Like
this segment should be changed to be called "Breaking Bryce's Heart."
All right. I'm moving on. Let me
All right,
know
let's
what
go
you
on.
guys-
These are fun though. It's fun.
Yeah, let me know what you guys think
Keep
about
'em
this
coming.
one. This one is called Bigfoot Sasquatch sighting near Port Renfrew on Vancouver Island. Now, this was captured. I'm going to go ahead and just start playing. In August of. No, you're
Like
not going
the
to be
title
too convinced
credits.
with this.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
So
A little bit of a
this-
bigger budget on this one.
Yeah, this was taken back in 2013
Oh, hold on now.
Vancouver
All right.
Island. Now, a couple was driving back to their home from Port Renfrew, and they got out of the car, and the guy's wife just wanted to sort of hike, you know, because she's an avid hiker, deeper into the woods. And they captured this. Now, they're familiar with the wildlife of Vancouver Island. I will admit there are black bears and grizzlies on Vancouver Island, quite rare, but I love. So they observed this subject for approximately 15 minutes.
Oh, that almost looked like a back of a head and shoulder right there.
That's what they said. They said it sort of had.
And almost like a silverback pattern
Yeah.
on the back too. We're
Yeah.
looking for those who aren't seeing this at home. We're looking at, and we should have done this for the first video too, but oh well.
right, yeah. do
Links
that,
will
Michael.
links will be in the show notes, guys.
Yeah.
We're looking at just sort of some furry thing that's tucked behind a tree, as these videos usually go.
Right.
But it does look like we're looking at the right shoulder and the back of whatever it is.
That's what
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah,
It's kind of
and
cool.
I think one thing we can all agree on is it's definitely an organic living creature. It doesn't need
Yeah.
to be.
There are organs somewhere
Yeah,
in there.
I-
I'll say that.
I don't want to. I think we can easily eliminate just some.
Now, if you're taking this video, why don't you just go, like, and have it turn to look at you, right?
Right.
I don't know, man.
Then the
I mean,
footage would never be found.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The person would be
exactly.
torn asunder.
I don't know. What do you guys think in the audience? What feeling? Oh,
Big
got
foot.
some
Oh,
more
yeah.
thumbs up coming
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Enthusiastic
Yeah.
nods. Good. All right. Cool. We like this one.
Another
Dank
thing-
stash, Bryce.
To me,
Yeah,
I
another-
see the shoulder. What was very interesting was in like maybe 30-second range. It almost looked like the back of one of the shoulders and like a chest moving with breathing.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you did mention a black bear, and I almost when it zooms out for a second
Yeah.
around a minute 15ish.
It
or
could be the
whatever,
back of a bear.
It did look like a bear that might have been front paws up
Foraging
on
in
a,
a
on a
tree.
thing up on
Yeah.
a tree.
This
And we were looking at the rump kind of do its thing as it's looking for something in a tree.
Looking at that
Yeah.
rump, do its
We're just
thing.
checking out
yeah,
rumps.
checking
One
out
thing
that
I like
rump.
about this
Let me
video
see
is it never
do
really went viral. There's not a lot. There's not like 100,000 views on it. I mean, this is just an authentic.
It's really just something fuzzy they filmed in the woods. Just
the lady lost her memory card, and they only found it like a few years later, and were able to post it. And in our
that
show notes-
actually lends legitimacy to it for me. That she's like, oh, I saw something out there, but I don't
Lost
know
the
what
memory.
happened to that memory
Where
card.
did
Where
those
did we
small
put
details,
that? Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question. I asked this of Fredo, and I think I asked some task force members over the course of the RTX weekend. But if this was a bear, or if this was Bigfoot, which would be more terrifying to you, genuinely?
Oh, 100% Bigfoot, I think, because I think people that you know are used to walking in these types of woods, they get used to hunters too, hikers.
Yeah.
They get used to the wildlife. They get used to seeing black bear and not so much grizzly. But you know, I think we underestimate, like, if you were to stumble upon something like this and you had the inkling feeling that this might be an authentic, you know, Bigfoot, I think it would be absolutely terrifying.
What about a moat full of bears or a moat full of Bigfoot?
Vancouver Island basically is a moat, dude.
It's true.
You know, and actually, you know, there are quite numerous sightings on this island. It has been monikered Ape Island. So
He's spending his summer there, so
I'm spending my
we're expecting some video.
Yeah, I would love to do that. But so I'm not sure about this, but I do think that's definitely a Bigfoot, 100%.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more from your
We got one
VHS
more, and
collection. What do you have?
I wanted to finish big. I think I might have showed this video on a prior Secret Test, but I wanted to bring it back for you guys in a live audience because I think this is and stands today as one of the most authentic UFOs with alien occupants ever filmed.
This is a fun one to bring out to the festivals for sure.
This is absolutely a classic. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but this is called the Kumburgaz sighting that was taken in Turkey. Now, this is a series.
We're in UFO land here.
We're in UFO land. This was a series of 27 filmed UFO sightings that took place from 2007 to 2009 in a small beach community about 60 kilometers west of Istanbul, Turkey. Now, the objects filmed were reported by many witnesses, including several individuals present during various recordings. I'm going to play a little clip, and a man speaking who was there during one of the films. This is Dr. Roger Lear.
He's a foot doctor, so
now,
take him seriously.
Well, he is, but he also supposedly operated on 17 individuals who claimed that they had alien objects within their body taken from abduction. So this is where high strangeness starts to get weird, because now you have this person who was there during one of the filming. Enough talking. This was
just
mostly
hit play, brother.
Yeah, let me just hit play, and let's let.
There was a bright full moon, and below the moon.
So this is footage of another convention.
We didn't know what it was, and we were filming out over the water. There was no.
This is Roger Lear, correct?
Yes, this is Roger Lear.
No oil platforms. There was no ships going by, and
why does he have an earpiece mic and he's talking to him?
This camera had a 200 millimeter
So there's the craft.
lens and an electronic doubler, so we were able to get very tight on the leading edge of the craft. The craft, you have to realize, is being lit by the moonlight.
We're looking at a grainy but cool video of a craft floating in the air. Now we see some stills.
Now you can see the different dates that were taken, but this object seemed to come back year after
And
year.
standing in these viewing ports were typical bumper sticker.
Let's punch it. There you
Look,
go.
I mean,
Okay, hold on.
I'm just going to stop it right there.
It looks to be two sort of classic alien grays sitting in this craft. This makes the craft also look very small. If those things are supposed to be like 4 feet tall
When
each.
you see how far this image is taken over the Sea of Marmara in Turkey, and how far they had to zoom in, like you said, with this 200 millimeter electronic doubler, they were able to get this close. And you see in here, and this little creature's head moves too throughout the video.
I saw this. I mean, I looked through the camera myself, and unfortunately, we recorded it. That video
Got a little
went
head
to
bob.
the university in Istanbul and went over extremely intense scrutiny by the Turkish government, and then
I mean, it's blurry.
It's
pushing close, but
So what is this bright green measuring? It's not light. You said electricity, or
So this is just light being reflected from the moonlight. So
Got
as
it.
the craft, and you can see it in the daytime. I'll just let it catch up ahead of
it.
It just sort of looks like 5 lights that sort of lead along the edge of this craft.
Recently, this year, the video was given to
See, as you,
talking over him.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. So as you can see in the daytime, it really just looks like 4 to 5 lights hanging out over the Sea of Marmara. But as they zoom in and dusk turns into dark, you can start to see this craft.
Kind of a good old CS classic saucer.
Analyst
Yeah.
in Chile.
My favorite part
He did another
about all these,
review
like-
of the film, but
Sorry,
this
I didn't mean to be on
Yeah,
that.
no.
My favorite part about all these saucers, eyewitness sightings and whatnot is like apparently no matter where you are, they seem to have at least some level of uniformity across the
Some
stories.
consistency,
Some
right?
consistencies. And it's not like everyone across the world's corroborating, like, what are you going to say? What am I going to say? It's really interesting. And like, I've actually wanted to throw you guys this question because like, it seems like the U.S. has a lot of like, whether it be videos or eyewitnesses or what have you, a lot of experiences. So this is really compelling to me because this is essentially on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see some of this very similar phenomenon internationally, which is not nearly as either publicized or just not as exposed as much or talked about as much.
Well, it's a great point. I mean, we get sort of encapsulated here in just the UFO phenomenon here within the United States, but this is a worldwide phenomenon taking place in just about every country on the planet. Some more so than others, but yeah, so many witnesses to this. It was passed around through the Turkish government along with Russian and American agencies to go ahead and try and validate these films taken, and nobody to this day has been able to debunk it. So it stands.
What do you think, everybody? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up.
Yeah.
All right, strong.
up.
Okay,
Yeah,
a little
it's pretty strong
sideways.
thumb.
All right, I say that's probably the biggest hit. Well done, Bryce.
Thank you. Woo.
Thank you. Let's go put those
That's
back
so
in your
interesting.
stash.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you listen to the show, you know that there's a game that we love to play with all of our guests. I'm going to go down a list of phenomenon, rapid fire style.
Okay.
Trevor, if you're open to it, you're going to say believe it. If you're not open to it, you're going to say bullshit. Okay.
Got it.
You got to make a decision one way or another. We can always circle back if we need to at the end of the list. If you want to say, no, hold on.
Should I
wanna
just pass everything?
Justify. If you,
There is no pass.
there's no pass. The only way
excited.
through
Let's do
is
this.
to do it. All right.
Yes.
This is a game that we like to call bullshit.
or believe it.
All right. This is the big, hairy summer version of the list. This is not the usual list. So here we go. Trevor Collins, on your mark. Get set. Ghosts.
Open.
All right.
What did I, believe it.
all right.
Believe it. I already ruined the show.
He loves the
believe it.
rules. There we go.
Bigfoot.
Believe it.
UFOs.
Believe it.
Mothman.
Bullshit.
Dogman.
What? Bullshit?
Batsquatch.
Hold on a second. Believe that.
Hairy alien UFO knots.
Don't know it?
Just,
Don't believe
aliens
it.
that could be hairy. All right.
Yeah, they got to be bald.
The Beast of Galvadon. There's a big hairy wolf that was
Believe
kind of...
it.
Okay, great. Goatman.
Oh, believe that.
Momo.
Don't believe.
The Yowie.
Believe it.
The Jersey Devil.
Don't believe it.
Mystery big cats. What are all these big cats doing?
That's a great question. I believe.
Sasquatch.
Believe.
Just another name for Bigfoot. Bigfoot bodies were recovered after the eruption of Mount St. Helens.
I can believe that.
Bigfoot creatures have penetrated the subterranean infrastructure of Edwards Air Force Base.
And that's where they are? Gotta believe it.
You, Trevor Collins, could outsmart a werewolf.
Bet. Believe it.
Interdimensional Sasquatch.
Oh, don't believe it.
Telepathic Sasquatch.
Maybe believe it.
Invisible Sasquatch.
Don't believe.
Bigfoot looks blurry in every photo because he is blurry.
Oh my God, I'll believe it. I want to believe that one.
Finally, in our original timeline, the famous Bear family's last name was spelled Berenstein, not Berenstain.
Oh, yes, I believe that. That is the Mandela effect of my life right there.
Great. Round of applause.
All
Well
right.
done,
Well
Trevor
done.
Collins. Any that you wanted to circle back on real quick and just justify?
Oh gosh, yes, many. And but my short-term memory is so bad.
That's fine. Great. No worries. Here we go.
Let's see. Some of those touch on a few things, like Bigfoot being invisible or having subterranean outlets to just hang. What is what is your guys' take on like why they're so hard to find? And like if they're rare, maybe that's why. If they're numerous, how are we not seeing them more often? I would love to know what your guys' take is.
I can just feel the excitement coming
Yeah.
up from
Oh,
Bryce
yeah.
as he
It's
leans
$1 million
into the mic.
question.
Well,
Well, I would counter that with they're seen quite often and at least reported. It's always like this. Do you guys know who Stanton Friedman is? That great UFO researcher. He was the nuclear physicist. Very credible guy. He would attend UFO conferences, and he would often ask the audience, "Okay, how many people here?" Believe in UFOs, and everybody would raise their hand, and he'd say, "How many people here have seen a UFO?" And some people would, lower their hands, but for the majority, I would say about 60 to 80% would kept their hands up. And then he would ask, finally, "How many people here have reported that UFO sighting?" And practically all the hands went down, leaving maybe less than 10% of people. And so I think that tracks for the Bigfoot phenomenon as well. So I think people see these creatures many more times than they're actually reported. Now, that being said, they're still quite reported frequently across pretty much every state here in the continental United States, and Canada, Mexico, everywhere. Every continent seems to have its own. Here's where I get into a problem. Why are they all so different, and why does every country have a different version of it, which makes it a little stranger than it should be, but...
And I think they're in those castles surrounded by those moats that we never go
Staring
to
out
anymore.
those little arrow
they
slits.
adapt differently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great point, though. It could be that it's stigmatized. It could be that, one of my favorite topics of discussion is the Men in Black. And it could be
Yes.
that, a shadow agency or some sort of governmental force could be putting, the hush on it,
Yeah,
to
especially
make
if
Yeah.
the Bigfoot has invisibility powers.
Absolutely. They're
They
still
need to
trying to
harness
figure that out.
for the military.
And that is a great point. There is a stigma. I've talked to quite a few witnesses, and not one of them has had anything really to gain from their sighting or coming forward with their sighting. They're usually quite hesitant to talk about their sightings and their incidents because they open themselves up to mockery and not only from their friends and family but coworkers. There's really no money to be gained. I've never seen somebody get rich off of a Bigfoot sighting.
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Guys, something's happening over here.
We've got ourselves a sighting.
What?
Wow, wait a
Oh
minute.
my
What
God.
is this?
It is the resident Batsquatch.
Yeah.
He's
Batsquatch
real.
is here today,
Believe it.
everybody.
Believe
we
it.
found one. Oh, he's carrying a little bag of goodies, it looks like.
Man.
Today, Batsquatch is visiting and bearing some gifts. So, guys, we're going to do a little quick trivia, and I think we're going to call first on our friends from BCC here. Gentleman in the front row wearing the big hairy beard for the summer, thank you for growing yours out
Very
along
nice.
with me. Let's get, let's have a guardian friend come over, and we're going to play a little trivia. Now,
Yeah.
great. So what? Here we go. Come on over to this gentleman here, sir.
Yeah, stay comfy.
Yeah,
You're
stay
good.
comfy.
There you
What's your
go.
name, sir?
Edward Sheriff.
All right,
Edward.
Edward. Great. So Batsquatch is coming over. We got a
Creeping
trivia
on
question for
over.
you. If you get the answer correct, you get a prize. Okay? Now, if you don't get it right the first time, we're going to give you a second chance with multiple choice.
Yeah.
All
We
right?
really want you to win this prize.
All right? Look
We're
at how
all
happy
pulling
that
for you.
Batsquatch is.
He's
Yeah.
ready to go.
Look at it, little guy. He's cute.
All right. Bryce, why don't you hit him?
Edward, what year was the Roswell crash?
1953.
That is incorrect. You're letting down the entire Club Scout Nation right now. Look, Batsquatch just said he's going to
it's
run
okay,
away.
Batsquatch. Come on now, Batsquatch. Come on back.
That was good.
Batsquatch, we're going to give him a second
Yeah, it was a
chance
good guess. Good guess. Good warm up. Good warm up.
I'm
Here we
going to
go.
give you the multiple choice, and
Yeah, let's do that.
maybe this will reignite something. Here we go. Is it A, 1947? Is it B, 1958? Or is it C, 1945?
A.
That's correct, Edward.
That's correct.
All
That's
right.
right.
1947.
Oh
the
my
Roswell
goodness.
crash.
It's a winged ape Super 7 figure that we bought at Monkey See, Monkey Do on South Congress yesterday.
Great
Right here in
by the
Austin,
way.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you guys
congratulations.
haven't been
Good job,
there.
Edward.
All right.
Nice job.
Great job.
Nice job.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Batsquatch.
Young lady, with the pretty red hair. What is your name, please?
Michelle?
Michelle. Awesome. All right.
Okay.
Are you
All
ready for a question?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, don't worry. We're going to take care of you. I got 2 here. Okay. What does UAP stand for?
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
There's
Right
it.
off
That's
the
all you got to do.
Right off the
Sasquatch,
bat.
give her.
That's it.
What
Hand
is
over the
Tell her
prize.
what she's won.
She's got an Archie McPhee Bigfoot action figure. Well done. Give it up for.
Nice.
Give it up for
Thank you,
Michelle,
Batsquatch.
Michelle, and
Yes,
Edward.
Batsquatch,
Thank you,
thank you.
Batsquatch, Batsquatch.
Now,
Do a
how
little
many-
dance for everybody.
Little bat dance. Ooh,
Little bat dance?
A little thriller.
Don't upset the bats.
Okay, yeah.
I hope you all report that Batsquatch
Yeah.
sighting.
If Dr. Stan
get those
Friedman's
numbers up.
ghost asks you if you've seen Batsquatch, everybody raise your hand. Well done. Thank you, Batsquatch.
Batsquatch.
Thank you, Batsquatch. Appreciate you.
All right, everybody. We're moving on. It is time for this week's story of high strangeness. I'm going to make a little room for super producer Riley here. Riley is he accompanies all of our stories of high strangeness on the podcast. Usually it's done in post. Sometimes it's done live. Today it's going to be done live. Are you good there? Do you need a little
Texas style.
Yeah. Do you need is that mic sound good for you? Picking that up in the
I'm
booth?
plugged in, baby.
Okay, great. Oh, great.
Oh,
Love
nice.
It.
Look
All
at
right.
that.
Here we go. So we've been celebrating Big Harry's summer all season long, and we didn't come all the way to Texas to interrupt the proceedings. So, Austin, we proudly present to you a few samples of Big Hairy Monsters of Texas. Now, Texas may not be the first place that comes to mind when one thinks of Bigfoot legends, but with 38% of the Lone Star State being covered in woodlands, adding up to 63 million acres of forested area, there's plenty of hiding places for our big furry friend. For example, the Big Thicket National Preserve near Houston is 80,000 acres of forested land and a host to high strangeness. And it's also got bayous. That's pretty cool. Bragg Road, nicknamed Ghost Light Road, is a hotspot for mysterious lights and the occasional appearance of ape-like cryptids. Incidents involving big hairy monsters chasing teenagers out of cemeteries and attacking cars parked on Lover's Lane have been reported there. One legendary specimen was said to lurk in the woods and roadside ditches of Round Rock, Texas, just 30 miles north of Austin. Legends tell of a hairy entity who dwells near a road named after him, Hairy Man Road. The story goes that way back in the 1800s, as covered wagons made their way across the West, a little boy, the progeny of pioneers, was bounced out of his family's wagon and left to fend for himself in the Texas wilderness. The child wasn't discovered missing until it was too late, and like Tarzan, he eventually grew into a big, strong, hairy wild man. Pioneers swapped tales of the Texas hairy man running alongside their wagons and shouting an inscrutable language or posting up on a branch overhanging the wagon trail and dragging his big, heavy feet along the canvas tops as the caravans passed below him. Today, Round Rock celebrates the legend of the Texas Hairy Man with the Hairy Man Festival, a competition where men can compete to see who is the most hairy. Those are your people, Texas. Good. That's your people, Austin.
I like that guy's outfit in the sun.
Yeah. I mean, who are we voting for in this photo?
Far left, right?
Far left, I think, wins for sure.
It's that chest, right?
Yeah,
It just
yeah,
solidifies
yeah.
the deal.
Yeah, exactly. The Wild Man of the Navidad was another Bigfoot-like personality that was said to haunt Sublime, Texas in the early to mid-1800s. This entity was covered head to toe in short, dark fur and raided cabins and livestock, sometimes absconding with tools or even going so far as kidnapping the occasional settler in the dead of night who were never to be seen again.
Occasionally kidnapped.
Yeah, you know, every now and then.
I do it on occasion.
Depends on the mood. How are we feeling tonight? There are many theories as to whether the wild man was a human or humanoid, but the origins of the creature were never discovered. But the story of the wild man of the Navidad was passed down through generations, in part due to author J. Frank Dobby, who recounted the legend in his 1938 book, Tales of Old Time Texas. You've ever checked that out, Trevor?
I have not.
That might be one to add to the Red Web library. Further west, one can discover a big hairy monster whose story originated in Kickapoo culture. It's a little confusing though because the Kickapoo Indians, that tribe was not native to Texas, so the origins of this story are somewhat dubious. That being said, the Great Bear Man or the Bear King of Marble Falls is an entity whose name refers to a Kickapoo legend about a wild man who was king of the bears. Now, the being that we're talking about was likely not that specific mythological figure, but it could have been some type of ape man or Bigfoot. In 1901 newspapers, they reported that a woman from Marble Falls named Ramey Arland was kidnapped by a hairy wild man who, quote, roared like a panther while tending to her sheep on the family ranch one afternoon. Hearing her screams, her family rushed to her aid only to find no trace of Ramey and no evidence of who or what took her. According to Ramey, a hairy creature carried her off into the woods to a cave where she was held prisoner for the night. While the local townsfolk searched helplessly for her, Ramey only managed to escape her after her captor fell asleep and was found wandering through the woods the next day. Here's how Ramey described the incident to the San Francisco Chronicle. I was walking along a narrow trail when a large black bear suddenly appeared in front of me. He quickly turned away, and when a curious-looking animal, running on 4 feet, sprang out of the chaparral into the trail. I saw a glance that the monster in some way resembled a human being, and it flashed across my mind that I was being confronted by the Bear King of the Kickapoos. The beast threw one of its long arms around my neck, glared into my eyes, and uttered a horrible sound. I expected to be torn to fragments. The creature seized me and ran towards the mountains. After Ramey was safely returned home, she directed hunters to the beast's lair in the Moon Mountains, where allegedly the men confronted and then shot and killed the beast after it charged. However, a body was never brought back to town, and no one knows what became of the creature's remains. 59 years ago this month, an unidentified hairy creature was lurking around the small town of Caddo, Texas. Known as the Caddo Critter, the monster made headlines in the Abilene Reporter News in July of 1963. A 72-year-old man named Charlie Gant shot a creature around 11:30 p.m., which he described as gorilla-like. Now let's take a look at old Charlie Gant here.
Oh yeah.
You do not the time specifically.
You do not want to get on this guy's property.
Charlie.
No trespassing on Charlie Gant's land. Apparently, the creature had appeared on Gant's property the night before, and local residents had been reporting strange activity in Caddo for the previous 2 weeks. Unfortunately, or thankfully, depending on how you look at it, Gant's bullets didn't make contact with the late-night intruder, who escaped with all of its organs intact. Monster fever quickly swept through the area. Some began to posit that the Caddo Critter was the same creature who had been spotted in nearby Haskell, known as the Haskell Rascal, a mysterious being that had been reported in the area for over 80 years. The previous summer had seen an uptick in rascal activity, resulting in a series of unexplained livestock and animal mutilations.
That's weird.
Bigfoot researcher John Green wrote this in his book, Sasquatch, The Apes Among Us.
Residents claim that the Haskell Rascal spends summers in the Kiowa Peak area west of Haskell, and that it prowls in the lowlands during the winter, killing and feeding on livestock.
It seems that the Caddo Critter had the same tendency towards animal abuse, lending some credence to the theory that the two monsters might actually be one and the same. A 9-year-old Caddo boy was on his way to the local fishing hole one hot afternoon when he spotted the large ape-like creature 200 yards away from his home. His mother told reporters that although she herself did not see the beast, something had been attacking local dogs in recent weeks. A second boy, this time with his mother present, and again near a body of water, both saw the Caddo Critter. The mother and child stood in shock and awe for 2 minutes as the monster allegedly growled and started throwing rocks at them before retreating into the brush. Just standing there while a monster is throwing rocks at you, you gotta go. You gotta
Stunned
run.
in fear, like a deer in headlights.
That's right,
That's what
yeah.
they say, you know,
Fight or
like
flight.
a young boy staring at a hairy beast.
Yep. Sightings of the critter dwindled, with searches turning up empty-handed, as they always do. But it certainly wouldn't be the last of big hairy monsters seen in Texas. We've already covered the Lake Worth monster, who struck in the summer of 1969, way back in episode number 28 of BCC. But there was also the brief but glorious impression left by the Holly Hymn. Have you guys heard about the Holly Hymn? Any of y'all? So the Holly Hymn was a 7-foot-tall ape-like monster who terrified 3 teenagers in Holly, Texas back in 1977. 2 boys, Larry Suggs and Tom Roberts, were pelted by rocks by a branch-cracking monster while clearing brush at the Abilene Boys Ranch in Jones County. Abilene Boys Ranch sounds like those two were troublemakers and were sent there this summer to work off their mischief. Here's what Suggs had to say.
Whatever it was, he looked kind of like an ape, but still a man. He had huge arms. They hung down to his knees. You'd have to see him to believe it.
Suggs and Roberts chased after the monster, joined by their friend Renee McFarlane. Armed with a deer rifle, the kids managed to track the Holly Hymn into dense woods, fire at it, and miss, which sent the creature running into the dense thicket. Monster hunters descended upon Holly, but him was never found. However, one of the local churches capitalized on the monster fever to help promote Vacation Bible School by sending out flyers featuring a crude drawing of the Holly Hymn. Look how sad the sun is in this picture.
That is a very sad sun.
It's like the sun is ashamed that God made this thing. So, there you have it, folks. Those are just a few of the big hairy monsters who have once walked across this great state of yours, and we didn't even have time for the Goat Man, the West Texas Owl Man, the Texas Chupacabra, or the Donkey Lady, who is technically a ghost. So, Trevor, as our guest and resident of Austin, we ask you, what the hell was all that?
Well, man, this guy has me thinking, like, there are so many local and nationwide, like Sasquatch, Yeti, Bigfoot, those are the big ones, but it seems like you got some like local ones like Skunk Ape or the Rascal?
The Haskell
Rascal.
It's a good name.
It's
He's got to have a
That's
good
my
name.
favorite
Good
one.
marketing on that creature.
They're getting around. There is so much more ape-like creature lore here in Texas than I would have imagined.
It's all over the place. And there's some researchers that say, these things down here may not be the same things that we have in the Pacific Northwest. It might be some sort of branch or relative. But because I also know in the South, a lot of these leave like 3-toed footprints instead of the regular 5-toe. Yeah, especially down like the
folk monster.
Folk monster, yeah, exactly. But thank you so much for sitting through those tall tales.
That was fascinating. I zoned out picturing all the descriptors and all these stories. This is fascinating.
And well done, Riley Bray. Thank you for that beautiful music.
Thank you very much.
All right, we have just a couple minutes left. I know that we got to get going here, but we wanted to open it up real quick. Is there anybody out there that has any questions? Any questions?
Burning
questions.
That you've always wanted to ask.
Club Scouts, you guys don't have anything? You've already had your show
There we go.
participation?
I
All
see
right,
a hand.
Let's bring up Michelle's got a question.
We got a hand up in front too. We're going to get to you too.
Do you guys plan on doing another Bigfoot hunt like you did and lost all the audio for?
Yeah, technically we didn't lose our Bigfoot hunting audio. It was stolen.
It was stolen.
By the government.
Yeah.
Because we found him.
We had conclusive proof, and it was stolen from my van, in case you don't know. Yes, we do. We have plans in the works, and
we're going to make it up to you and ourselves and Bryce.
And Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You guys have never done it. Plan it with your friends. Go out and spend a weekend looking for big. It's a hell of a lot of fun.
Hot tip, bring some flashlights and bear mace, just in case. I think we went woefully underprepared into the woods
That's
at night.
true. We were looking for Bigfoot, though, but we did find ourselves.
We did. We found friendship.
Yeah.
It was great. Anybody else?
I saw
real
up
quick?
front you had a question.
Here we go. Sir, what is your name?
My name's Matt.
Matt.
Hey, Matt. What's up,
Thank you for being here, Matt.
What's up, man?
So I was wondering, you guys plan on covering any more like awkward height strangeness like the Formanauts or like Sam Down the Clown?
Oh, absolutely. So we've done an episode of Sam the Sandown Clown, one of my favorite stories. This is a story about a couple kids in England who found a weird clown-like robot interdimensional being that like was hanging out under a bridge. Not
That
where
sounds awesome.
Yeah, it is.
It is awesome.
We hung out with a clown under a bridge, Mom.
Never what you want your kids to come home and say.
I found a
That's not
mysterious
good.
clown under a bridge. We had a great time. Hours of
He
romping.
put a ball in his ear and we could see it through his eyeballs. True story.
True story.
I can't remember off the top of my head which episode that was, but we have covered it. And then the Formanauts, we've had John E.L. Tenney on the show a number of times, who's been working on this case up in Michigan. This is a case where people are witnessing weird, like oblong, rectangular objects that also have fur. So they're kind of like weird UFOs floating around
Yeah,
at
it's like
low level
it's like a
with
hybrid
hair.
UFO Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird stuff. What's that?
They also phase through like fences.
Yeah, they phase through stuff. So as John, I think he's writing a little book on that stuff. So definitely when he sort of comes to some sort of cohesive theory as to what these things are, then we'll have him back on the show for sure. So thank you, Matt. Thank you. All right, we have to wrap it up, unfortunately. I want to give a huge thanks to Trevor and everyone at RTX for having us here today. A huge shout out to all of you who joined us today and who have joined us every week over the past 5.5 years. We appreciate you guys. If you love BCC, you can check out new episodes every Wednesday on your favorite podcast app, and check out our Patreon, BCC The Other Side, for 3 additional bonus episodes every month. Access to the BCC Discord, the option to upgrade to Riley's Cosmeteer membership, which is awesome. He drops his original soundtracks on there and some original music. We have discounts on merch for our Patreon members and much more. So head over to patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub for that. You guys have been amazing, Austin. Until next time, good night.
And go get regressed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bigfoot Collectors Club is executive produced by Michael McMillan, Riley Bray, and Bryce Johnson. Our show is engineered, produced, and scored by Riley Bray. Our theme song, Come Alone, is by Suneaters. Follow them on Spotify. Want more BCC? For exclusive full-length episodes every month and total access to The Other Side, check out patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub.